Bumble Bee sued by deep sea crew who say they were forced into fishing boat slavery. Muhammad Shafi is one of four Indonesians suing U.S. tuna giant Bumble Bee Food over alleged forced labor in its supply chain. CNN Muhammad Shafi remembers screaming in pain as hot cooking oil splashed across his stomach and dripped down his legs, his wet clothing sticking to his tortured skin as it began to bubble and swell. Like many poor Indonesian men, he had signed up to work abroad in the fishing industry where wages are higher than back home. He was hired to work in 2021 as a cook on a ship which supplied fish to Bumble Bee Food, one of the biggest tuna importers in the United States. But when he got there, he says he was physically abused and forced to work in dangerous and demanding conditions. And when Shafi was seriously burned while working in the kitchen, he claimed he was left writhing in pain on the bench and denied food, water, and access to medical care. Shafi's account is detailed in the new landmark lawsuit filed by four Indonesian fishermen against Bumble Bee Food. It alleges the tuna giant knowingly benefited from forced labor, theft, bondage, and other forms of abuse in its supply chain. In the statement provided to CNN, Bumblebee's Seafood said it became aware of the filing last Wednesday and will not be commenting on pending litigation. The allegations have not been tested in court. The four plaintiffs worked in three different fishing vessels which supplied tuna to Bumble Bee, according to the legal complaint which was filed on March 12th in federal court in California. While at sea, the men said they were physically abused and held against their will. This is the first known case of the fishing boat slavery brought against the U.S. seafood company Agnieszka Friedman, one of the attorneys for the plaintiff, told CNN, fishing vessels never really have to go forward, so the men are really stuck. It makes it very easy to engage in the forced labor and trafficking, she said. The corporate office of Bumblebee Food in San Diego, California, on May 17, 2028. Human rights abuses in the fishing industry are well documented, but accountability is rare. The industry is notoriously opaque because of its reliance on migrant workers, the complicated nature of global supply chains, and the fact that the work occurs at sea, where workers are typically excluded from land-based labor laws. Campaigners have long argued that U.S. companies need to do more to ensure their supply chains are free from abuse. These are people who wanted to work to give their families a better life. We as Americans are eating this tuna. We are eating the seafood that is produced off the backs of these abuse, said Sari Haidenrihi, senior human rights advisor in the Global Fisheries Unit for Greenpeace, which are also representing the plaintiffs. Bumblebee imported tuna caught using forced labor lawsuit alleges. Bumblebee is one of the oldest canned of seafood companies in the U.S. and holds the company's largest market share for canned and poached tuna, according to the Seafood Stewardship Index. The global tuna fishing industry is estimated to be worth about $40 billion, according to For Trust. In 2019, the company filed for bankruptcy amid the price-fixing scandal and was acquired by Taiwanese fishing conglomerate FCF Co. for nearly $1 billion. The fishermen claim Bumble Bee violated U.S. human trafficking laws by importing seafood that was caught using forced labor. Like many migrant workers in the industry, the four were hired by recruiting firms which withheld large portions of their salaries was repayment for administrative costs in the practice known as staff bondage, leaving them with little to no pay. The lawsuits say they were threatened with large fines if they quit. The vessels would stay at sea for months with supply ships coming to deliver fuel and retrieve the ship's catch, a common process in deep sea fishing known as transshipment, leaving the men isolated and cut off from help. At times, the men organized strikes to pressure their captains to let them off the ship, but they were not permitted to leave. They are leech. Bumblebee Arvacore tuna cans at the store in Mountain View, California on November 22nd, 2019. She said the lawyers for the plaintiff were able to link Bumblebee's canned tuna to the ships the man walked on through the company's own Trace My Catch tool, which allows the consumers to see which vessel their fish was caught by. After Shafi's accident, he was forced to return to work despite asking to leave almost every day, according to the complaint. He wore the salon to walk because putting on trousers hurt his burns. His captain beat him regularly, Shafi's alleged. Muhammad Saluddin, one of the other plaintiffs, said the captain of his ship hit and lashed crew members and stabbed them with needles. He said he was beaten so many times he lost count. Ahmad, another plaintiff who, like many Indonesians, used one name, said he was forced to continue to working after a load of fish fell on his leg, gashing it through to the bone and filling his boot with blood. Anga, who also goes by one name, said the workers were fed so little that they often resorted to eating the fishing bait. Forced labor, a feature of the system, fishermen's claims echoed the stories of other migrant workers in the seafood industry. Experts said forced labor is not a one-off, it's not a bug, said Jessica Sparks, assistant professor in the Division of Agriculture, Food and the Environment at Tufts University. Each feature of the system, a 2022 report by the International Labour Organization found about 128,000 workers were trapped in the forced labor aboard the fishing vessels, a figure that was likely to be a severe undercount, according to the report authors. This case exemplifies the exact problem that we know is endemic in the fishing industry, because you have vulnerable people who have been recruited, who have been abused on the fishing vessel. That's flagged to the country that doesn't really hold any responsibility, said Natalie Klein, a professor of international law at the University of New South Wales. Extensive report on human rights abuse in the fishing industry by NGOs, international media outlets, and government, including the U.S. State Department, have put pressure on seafood companies to take ownership over their supply chains, including the conditions on the ships which catch their fish. The Muhammad Shafi said he was physically abused and forced to work in dangerous conditions while catching tuna for Bumble Bee. Bumble Bee declares on its website that it is committed to environmental sustainability and social responsibility, and that the company addresses the health and safety of workers throughout our supply chain. But the lawsuit alleges Bumblebee was aware of abuse in its supply chain and has not taken crucial steps to prevent human trafficking. The Seafood Stewardship Index, which measures the sustainability and social practice of the world leading seafood companies, gave Bumblebee a score of 1.27 out of 5, noting that the company lacks evidence of the approach to addressing any adverse human rights impact. The fishermen are seeking monetary damage for the harm they have suffered, according to the complaint. They are also asking that Bumblebee implement and enforce the severe new policies to promote worker safety, such as banning transshipment and the use of recruitment agencies requiring medical equipment on board and ensuring that ships have Wi-Fi. In 2020, the ship U.S. halted the import from the Taiwan-based fishing vessel that reportedly supplied tuna to Bumblebee because of human rights concerns. The Associated Press reported a 2022 report by Greenpeace separately linked the Bumblebee tuna to Taiwanese fishing vessels that used forced labor. Last year, Bumblebee agreed to remove claims of the fair and safe supply chain and fair and responsible working conditions from its website, social media, and other advertising as part of the settlement with the Global Labor Justice International Labor Rights Forum. In 2021 interview with the seafood source, Leslie Hushka, Bumblebee's senior vice president of global corporate and social responsibility, called worker abuse on fishing vessels an industry-wide challenge. There were some really challenges in this industry, just tons of complexity. But we've tried to put in place a number of systems where we can consistently work with our fleet and seek improvement in all of our practices, Hoshka said.